Let us pray. Almighty God, where you have called us to govern this province, we ask your help to make decisions and laws that will be just and that will promote the interests of the people. Almagtige God, ons bid dat u gedurende ons vergaderings ons die nodige wysheid sal gee en ons motiewe suiwer sal hou en dat u ons sal help om al ons tekortkominge te oorkom en al ons besluite aan u op te dra. Sikelela ilezweleto nabantu balo. Musile ukulungu kwepondo letu. Nkosi sikelela e-Afrika, Kina abantwana bayo, kokela inkokeli zayo, yeniki uxolo e-Afrika. All this we beg in your holy name. Amen. Please be seated. Good morning, honorable members. Before we proceed, I would like to remind honorable members of some of the procedural arrangements. As has been our practice to date, honorable members will participate in the sitting of the House, both from here in the chamber with the presiding officer and the table staff and via Microsoft Teams. Our standing rules have accordingly been amended to accommodate such hybrid sittings. Honorable members, the quorum requirements for the sittings of the House are provided for in the Constitution of the Western Cape and the standing rules. Unless there's an indication of unanimous concurrence, voting will be confined to members present in the House and on the hybrid system who are entitled to cast their votes as per the ATC issued on the 11th of August 2020. Members present in the chamber and via Microsoft Teams have all the privileges and immunities imparted by law. Members who are considered out of order by the presiding officer will have their microphones muted and called to order. The Sergeant at Arms will record members' attendance. Honourable members, the media have also been granted access to this MS Teams meetings as guests of the WCPP. However, members of the press may not use the chat room or speak or activate their cameras while the sitting is in progress. Honourable members, language translation services are available in the chamber as usual and on Microsoft Teams via the respective channels. Honourable members are reminded that no interjections are permitted during these hybrid sittings, and to this end, I wish to draw your attention to Rule 40 of our standing rules. Honourable members, please allow me an opportunity to welcome the guests in the gallery. To the guests in the gallery, welcome to the WCPP. I wish to remind you that you may not participate in the proceedings of the House, and I wish to caution the members of the House not to engage the members in the gallery. With that being said, we will now proceed with the business of the House, and the Secretary will read the first order of the day.
Consideration of report of the Budget Committee on the Division of Revenue Amendment Bill B28/2025 NCOP, dated 10 December 2025, final mandate.
Honourable Michaels, is that a point of order?
Is hier 'n point of order, Speaker, is net dat u wil weet en u sou mos nou vandag teruggekom het oor point of order wat ek gister gereis het.
Honourable Michaels, yes, indeed. I will rule on 2 points of orders that were raised yesterday, and I will do so at the end of the session. With that being said, the House received the report of the Budget Committee on the Division of Revenue Amendment Bill, conferring authority on the Western Cape delegation in the NCOP to support this bill. This mandate will be sent to the NCOP. I will now afford parties an opportunity to make a declaration if they so wish. I recognize the ANC. Is there no declaration from the ANC? I will then move on to the PA. Is there no declaration from the order members? Is there no declaration from the PA? If not, I will move on. I recognize the EFF. If there's no declaration from the EFF, I move on to the NCC. There's no declaration from the NCC, I move on to the Freedom Front Plus. If there's no,
Speaker, the consideration of the report on the budget amendment bill and committee report supported by the Freedom Front Club. We note the in-migration to the Western Cape that continues to place tremendous pressure on the limited financial resources and infrastructure of the Western Cape province and its local municipalities. Many of these are unemployed or migrate to the Western Cape, mostly and primarily from the Eastern Cape. We also note, Speaker, that there is a willingness for an intergovernmental fiscal review process, which we hope that the Minister will also consider to lobby for financial support to the two commissioners that are embedded within the Western Cape's constitution for financial and incentive to support those additional functions expected from the Western Cape government. We therefore table this and we support the report, the adoption of the Division of Revenue Amendment Bill. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I recognize Al-Jamar. Is there any declaration from Al-Jamar? If not, I will move on to the ACDP.
Yes, Speaker, the ACDP supports the Division of Revenue Amendment Bill. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you very much. I recognize Good. Before I recognize, there's no declaration, it seems, from Good. So before I recognize the DA, Honorable Petrus, is that a point of order?
No, Speaker, good morning, Speaker and colleagues. I have difficulty to make to lock in Speaker, but the Patriotic Alliance support the bill. We raise our concerns about safety, and there was a
Honorable Petrus, just from a procedure perspective, I have moved on from the Patriotic Alliance, so I can only entertain a point of order. I will put the question to the House at the end, and then you can either support or not support. But I cannot go back at this point. I recognize the DA.
Honourable Speaker, the Division of Revenue Amendment Bill provides the Western Cape with an additional 1.070 billion rand in the 25-26 financial year. This allocation is welcomed as the province continues to face significant demand for services in education, health and infrastructure. The DA notes several key allocations in the bill. These include 496 million in conditional grants. Among these allocations are 232 million rand through the Early Childhood Development Grant for subsidy increases and expanded early learning. A further 90.922 million rand is provided through the District Health Programs Grant for HIV and AIDS to stabilise service delivery following the withdrawal of PEPFAR funding. We also welcome the additional provincial equitable share allocations of 712 million rand for health and 292 million rand for education. These allocations support frontline services at a time when the population of the Western Cape continues to grow rapidly. As part of the process, the DA has made several recommendations that are important for strengthening future intergovernmental funding arrangements. Among these, the DA recommends that National Treasury review the provincial equitable share formula to give greater weighting to population growth and economic activity. This would better reflect the realities faced by fast-growing provinces such as the Western Cape. The DA further recommends a review of the vertical division of revenue to increase the share that goes to provinces and local government. This includes a recommendation that the local government share should move gradually towards a minimum of 10% of the national budget. It should just be noted that in the various declarations that were made in the NCOP by the provinces. National Treasury undertook to respond by yesterday, the 11th of December, which they have done, and they've acknowledged the various issues that have been raised by the Western Cape. Based on the considerations and recommendations before us, the Democratic Alliance supports the Division of Revenue Bill.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Just for the record, the table staff informed me that the clock was started a couple of seconds later than when Honourable van Wyk started, and for that reason, I allowed the latitude to complete the sentence. Thank you very much. Can I just get from the table staff the apologies? I have to announce that there are currently 32 members present and entitled to vote, and the House is therefore quorum. The question put before the House that the report of the Budget Committee on the Division of Revenue Amendment Bill conferring authority on the Western Cape delegation in the NCOP to support this bill be adopted. Are there any objections? No objections. Agreed to. The report of the Budget Committee on the Division of Revenue Amendment Bill has therefore been adopted. The Secretary will read the second order of the day.
Debate on Vote 13, Cultural Affairs and Sport Western Cape Adjustments Appropriation Bill.
Thank you very much. I recognize the Minister of Cultural Affairs and Sport, Minister Mackenzie.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker, and thank you for hosting us today. And a special thank you to you as we celebrate 3 years of you having been the Speaker of the Western Cape Parliament. And we are privileged to have been led by you over the last 3 years, so thank you very much. Honourable Speaker, today I'm joining my colleagues as we're scaling for growth, not just for numbers on a page, but to create real opportunities and the deepening of dignity for young people across our province. It is my honor to table the adjustment appropriation for Vote 13, Cultural Affairs and Sports, which includes a welcome net increase of 10 million rand for the current financial year. More importantly, Honourable Speaker, Cabinet has approved our Western Cape School Sports Strategy, but as we know, a strategy without a budget is just a document. So over the next 3 years, I want to welcome and thank my colleague Minister David Mania, who's been working with me over the last many months to finalize this brilliant document, the first Cabinet School Sport approved document in South Africa. This document, with funding received from my colleague and with our funding, is funded to the tune of 120 million rand over the next MTEC period, and one of the strongest commitments ever made by a cabinet to fund school sport directly in this country. This confirms that school sports in the Western Cape is not just an extracurricular activity, it is an essential development that will keep young people safe, engaged, and connected to positive pathways. This 120 million rand investment strengthens our provincial strategy in the following 3 ways. It expands access to sport for learners from our most under-resourced communities. It deepens participation through weekly proximity-based leagues that will keep learners active and safe, and it will strengthen pathways to excellence by ensuring talent, wherever it emerges, there's the structure and support it raises. So we don't want people to teleport to the Olympics and the World Cups. We're creating pathways for learners to go to the Olympics, to go to World Cups, and to ensure we get medals and trophies by young people from South Africa. So, honourable members, as we meet here right now, 151 Western Cape athletes from across our province are competing at the National School Sport Championships in Ekurhuleni in Gauteng. So please take some time over the next 4 days, go to YouTube and watch, comment, and share the positive stories of our young athletes currently playing and representing our province in Gauteng. But they are not just numbers. They are Zubair Smith from Steenberg High School, flying high in gymnastics. They are Inati Dlaza from Ethlen School from the blind, taking to court with courage in goalball. They are Amaru Joseph from Van Reinsdorp, who's playing table tennis. And they are Jordan Jacobs from Lavender Hill High School, representing us in softball. These individuals departed from a wonderful Lavender Hill shared facility. That is how we develop talent, and our Western Cape School sports strategy will just build more on this, ensuring that these young people succeed in life. This strategy brings together two interconnected pillars. Our MORT program, which provides safe after-school spaces, caring coaches, and structured physical activity. Our school sports program, which will provide leagues, competitions, and pathways to performance. Together, they form our youth development system. It is a system that begins with protection and ends with opportunity. There is no better evidence that our strategy is on the right path if you look at the numbers from our girls rugby team at the moment. This year, 9 of the top 50 athletes selected from the under 18 elite player development squad from our MORT centers are currently in the South African under 18 elite performance development squad. 9 of the top 50 athletes. This did not happen by chance. It happened because these girls needed a safe space to train, a caring coach who believed in them, and a performance program that will build their confidence and their physical capabilities. These young women are from George, Langa, Klein Nederburg, Intlanganiso, and Grootbrak, and are rewriting the national story of women's rugby. They carry the dreams of thousands of young girls who can now say with confidence that if she can do it, then I can do it. That is precisely what our 120 million rand will amplify. It will improve access to shared facilities. It will expand school sport to a level we've never seen before. It will invest equipment for low and no income schools, and it will invest in transport solutions and align what we're currently doing to our MORT centers. So to my colleague, Minister David Mania, I say thank you, thank you, thank you, sir, for having the shared vision to invest in school sport. If we get it right 100%, it will be one of the greatest things that we've ever done for this country in terms of sport development. Honorable members, I want to also reaffirm that we're not just focusing on sport. All of you would have seen the budget book, would know that we're allocating additional money for libraries. Our job is the department looking at oversight over libraries. My colleague in David Mania will teach kids how to read, and our job was to ensure people love reading. So we've allocated an additional 2.5 million rand in funding to libraries to buy more books. So colleagues, if you have the time over this festive period, please visit the library, take out a book, talk about it, post about it, so we can encourage and drive more feet into our library. Honorable members, just 2 days ago, can I first say we can't do this on our own. We're working with partners in the ecosystem. So thank you to our municipalities across the Western Cape that continue to invest in libraries and the infrastructure in libraries. We value you, we appreciate you, and we will continue to work with you in developing libraries in our province. Additional partners in sport. When we first started talking about school sport and a school sport strategy, we met with the banks, we met with private sector partners to say this is the path that we're working on. Please come and partner with us in the future. On the approval of our school sports strategy, one of the partners reached out to us and say, how do we partner with you in developing the next Springbok player? Through our networks, we identified a young 12-year-old kid from West End in Mitchell's Plain, Noah Swart, who's already the next Cheslin Colby. He's from West End Primary in Mitchell's Plain. and through his coach, Mr. Muhammad Faisal Tofi, Mr. Clive Ari, and through a private partner, Knox Hydration, they have now funded his bursary. And if you've seen some of these YouTube videos of that young man from Mitchell's Plain, he will on par to make sure that we retain the Rugby World Cup in 8 years' time. So our school sports strategy, just by word of mouth, has already borne fruit, and young Noah Swart from Mitchell's Plain will have his bursary from next year onward fully funded, and his parents was brought to tears when this announcement was made on Wednesday. And unfortunately, I was in Johannesburg, graduated, so I couldn't attend that wonderful event, but there's already a success story coming out. So when me and Minister Mania sit on the stoop in 10 years' time somewhere, we can already see the Springbokke retain the World Cup. We can say we've done one great thing. We've produced a Springbok player directly through our school sports strategy. And I'm proud of young Noah Swart. Honorable member, this Western Cape government love investing in job enabling events. And just tomorrow morning, if you're not in George, honorable members, take a drive down to the Clan Williams Sports Ground. We invested there in the Clan William Arts Festival, which also run by a young man there, will bring the community of Clan William together through sports, arts, and culture. From real dance to poetry to hip hop to langarm, that festival in the West Coast enable economic growth. So if you are going down the West Coast, please take a stop at the Clan Williams Sports Ground, because we believe our small towns deserve every bit of support. So from the beautiful West Coast to George, our inaugural George festivals take flight tomorrow, showcasing arts, culture, food, sport, and entertainment in one of our fastest growing hubs. So if you're not on the West Coast, take a drive down to the Garden Route, where this 4-day festival will bring the Garden Route to light. Few days before that, honorable member, we've seen the beautiful Moss Jazz Festival celebrating their 10th celebration on the Santos Beach. And thank you to my colleagues and all other members who've also participated. And the member from the PA, who presume is online, is also a great participant in that festival of the Mossel Bay Festival. I will thank you for all members of Parliament for supporting these festivals. It shows our community that we value them and we appreciate them. And this year was also the celebration of the Mitchell's Plain Festival. And thanks to all our colleagues, including members of the opposition, who've attended that festival. We value festivals, we invest in them as the Department of Cultural Affairs and Sport, because festivals create jobs. Honorable member, as part of our ministerial priorities, we continue to uplift and protect indigenous cultures in this province, whether it's from the Khoi, the San, the Nama, and the Griqua communities. We're creating spaces for public celebrations, festivals, heritage events, exhibitions, and commemorations. So if you do have the time, please visit our George Library, where you see our San community is selling the wonderful traditional San medicine from Buchu to some other medicine. If you would like it more stronger, you can enjoy it, because that's why we believe we invest and celebrate culture as the Western Cape government. So Honorable Thomas Holters, I understand you like stronger traditional Khoi medicine. Please go visit the George Museum. We're creating environments for all our cultures in this province. Honorable members, a few weeks ago, we had our Mort Center event at Athlone at the Joseph Stone Auditorium. At the Joseph Stone Auditorium was a young group from Vredendal, a beautiful real dance, a group from Vredendal who traveled all the way to the big city to come and perform for us. Why is that important, and why did we invest in that young group? Because we're giving that young people from Vredendal a new experience. They've seen the big city, they've seen the big stage, and they want to go further in life. So to some people, it might be a small thing, but to those young people who traveled for hours to get to Josephstone and slept over and spent 3 days in the beautiful Cape Town, it's giving them now a bigger opportunity to succeed in life. So from real dance to competitions to training programs, we support in our cultures and we create festivals of job. Honorable members, you would have seen a few months ago, if you have not, we've worked through our partners and handed over R1 million contant to the Cape Malay Choir Board, because we believe in our culture in this province. So if you're not going to George, if you're not going to the Weskus, please take some time and go to the Tweede Nuwe Jaar competitions on the 31st of December, the 1st or the 2nd, or any competition taking place in the Kopse and the Cape Malay Choir from now until the end of February. It's a celebration of our culture. It's a celebration of our heritage. And that is how we have enabled them. Further to that, when Afrikaans is honored at a 50,000 sold out concert at a Greenport Stadium, we facilitated for the Cape Malay Choir to perform in front of 50,000 people at Greenpoint or Cape Town Stadium, because we believe in lifting up our cultures and sharing our culture with the world. To continue with supporting our culture, just 2 days ago, with the city of Cape Town and our beautiful initiation season, we've installed and made available water to water infrastructure right here, few kilometers down the road, because we believe in sharing and supporting our cultures in this province. Additional culture, just last month, we supported the Griqua National Conference, because it's also a highlight on the Griqua calendar festival, deeply rooted, celebrating storytelling, traditional cooking, indigenous games, and more. And we have supported that. But we're also supporting in the young people that is part of that. So if you go to George Festival, you'll meet a young man by the name of Jermaine Leonard. He's a music teacher at George High School and the founder of the GL Academy. That beautiful showcase of music, arts and dance that is put together in George over the next 4 days, whether it's the jazz concert, whether it's the gospel concert, was not done by some big fancy company in Cape Town. It was done by people of George, for George, by George. That is how we support the local economy and young people. And I can tell you, honorable members, if you go to that show, you will not be disappointed by how we support the sports, arts, and culture. Honorable member, we just don't support the sport for the sake of sporting. We believe that all of us must be healthy. All of us must have a healthy lifestyle so we can take people away from our honorable Wengers Hospital. And that's why in this adjustment, you'll see there's additional support for running in this province. The Mitchell's Plain Festival, the Mitchell's Plain Marathon, the Luandle one, the Elsie's River one, the Atlantis one, could not have happened without our support. In fact, sadly, last year, the Luandle, the Atlantis or Mamre one was cancelled by themselves because they didn't have funding. So we came to the party as a department with an adjustment budget, and we gave them funding. So when you see thousands of people participating in running, participating in being active, you know it's because we have a strategy to support running and sport in the Western Cape. And those races will not be cancelled now not because of funding, because we've made money available in this adjustment budget. And you'll see it will be subscribed. And I hope many more members can participate in those races. That's what we stand for: sports, arts, and culture. And this adjustment budget, if you read through it, supports all that pillars of what we're doing as a department. The biggest one of that is our Western Cape School Sports Strategy. And again, I cannot thank my colleague, Minister Mania, enough, the department and the Western Cape Cabinet, for having the visionary foresight to approve this cabinet, this policy, to ensure that we deliver more Olympians, more gold medals, not by teleporting there, but creating a pathway of excellence through investment. And I thank you, Honourable Speaker.
Thank you very much, Minister Mackenzie. Honourable Ngensu.
Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker, the MEC, my colleagues. We note and welcome the upward adjustment of this vote by just over 10 million, comprising 4.8 in rollovers and approximately 5.1 million in additional provincial funding. However, this amount does not present the full picture. MEC, it is important to make the point that as long as there is no investment on sporting infrastructure, both in our communities and schools, the people, the children of Nyanga East will continue to play or to practice along the N2 near Butcher Square. And I think it is important that attempts be made to ensure that DA-led municipalities do not neglect the existing sporting infrastructure in this province. The department initially received an increase of 16 million before adjustments were applied. From total 9.9 million allocated to library and ICAV services was immediately removed from the baseline, along with an additional 2.4. Most concerning, Speaker, is the reduction of 10.4 million from the compensation of employees' budget. With 10 million, this province could create more than 10 level 8 posts per year. Posts that would strengthen libraries, museums, ICAPs, MOD centers, and community cultural and sporting programs. Instead, this government continues to discard critical positions and weaken service delivery under the disguise of technical realignment. Actually, EPWP continues to be used as a new form of cheap labor, replacing core workers and skilled workers. Honorable Speaker, these examples undermine the intelligence of this House. The adjustment reflects a rollover of 2.2 million from the previous financial year for maintenance, utilities, and security at MOD centers. Yet, in this very same adjustment budget, we are told that approximately 2.1 million of MOD funds is being shifted for future financial years. We find it difficult to reconcile how the same program can receive a rollover for underspending while simultaneously having money removed. This is a contradictory and misleading approach to budget management. And I think it's important as you're going to make this point that rollovers is a function of understanding. And we make this point that there has to be a dialectic relationship between efficient and effective use of resources and no emphasis on one at the decrement of the other. We are informed that the department failed to spend 12.5 million in compensation of employees funding and amounts of 2.8 million, 2.2 million, 2.2 million. All this is now being pushed into later years. In addition, 4.5 million earmarked for SARS compliance at Philippi Stadium is being realigned and postponed. These are not technical adjustments. They are symptoms of deep service delivery failures and profoundly wrong. It is wrong because these cuts directly undermine the department's mandate in provinces where nearly 900,000 young people are not in education, employment, or training. Where they are recruited into gangs, they are on the street vulnerable to commit crime. It is wrong because the department cannot expand facilities, programs, or staffing when the provincial government continually reduces the very funds needed for growth. It is wrong because every rand shifted away from communities today creates the conditions of deeper crisis. Against this background, MEC, through you, Speaker, allow me to illustrate the human cost of these decisions through the story of Sipho, an 18-year-old from Nyanga, raised by a single mother who worked as a domestic worker in southern suburb. Sipho grew up seeing two different worlds, one with safe parks, functioning libraries, and sporting facilities. The other, his own, marked by overcrowding, poverty, violence, and complete lack of public investment. Despite these challenges, Sipho passed grade 12 MEC. He dreamed of becoming an athlete, but like many young people in Nyanga, Mitchell's Plain, Philippi East, Belleville South, Mfuleni, etc., he had no access to sport facilities, no after-school support, and no employment prospect. He became one of thousands who finished matric only to be left stranded. And when young people lose hope, the streets take over. Today, boys as young as 14 carry guns in Manningberg, in Hanover Park, terrorize communities, die in gang violence. They are confronted with a world where it becomes kill or be killed. Sipho was eventually lost of this violence, not because he lacked discipline or ambition, but because the system you oversee failed him. Speaker, this provincial government must accept responsibility for creating the conditions that grant the future of our children. Crime is not an individual failure. It is the direct result of budget choices. Choices to cut staffing, to roll over MOD funding, to remove 9 million from library services, and deprive young people of safe spaces, opportunity, and hope. The ANC therefore rejects such an adjustment It abandons young people at the very moment they need government the most. And I repeat, as long as when you drive on the N2, abantwana basenyanga East are made to practice sport on open field besides the N2.
Honourable Gensu,
near
your
Botha
time has
Park,
expired.
because they
Thank
are
you very
not
much.
sporting facilities.
Please
they have
take
to-
your
We
seat.
cannot
Thank
and
you.
will not
Thank you very much. Oh, honourable member, honourable member, honourable member. If your microphone is off, you cannot stand up and then engage across the floor. Yeah, but then you must wait until you take your seat. Alternatively, you switch on your microphone. Order. Honourable, can I just inform the table? Oh, there we go. And I recognize the Honourable Stevens.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. The Patriotic Alliance supports Budget Vote 13 for Sports, Arts and Culture. We recognise the importance of these programs to keep our children engaged and off the streets. However, we are concerned about how funds are being allocated and urge the department to focus on the areas that need it most. Many communities are plagued with gangsterism and without safe, accessible programs. Our youth have no chance to develop their talents. Programs must be brought closer to the children, not concentrated only in areas that are already easily accessible. For example, Bernardino High School is being highlighted as a center for sports development. Yet children from Kraaifontein area like Bernardino Heights, North Pine, Wallisdean, Belmont Park, Peerless Park, including the Scottsdene, face extremely unsafe routes to reach it. Unless parents can afford transport, these children cannot safely participate in sports or cultural activities. The Patriotic Alliance calls on the department to prioritize safety, accessibility, and proximity when allocating funds. Every child should have the opportunity to engage in sports and arts without risking their lives or relying on costly transport. Let us invest in programs that truly reach the communities that need them most. A child in sport is a child out of court. Thank you.
Baie dankie aan die agbare Stevens. I now recognize the Honourable Van Minnen.
Honourable Speaker, today I rise to speak not only for the people of the Karoo, but for every parent, every worker, and every young person who is tired of politicians who shout loud promises yet deliver delolo, absolutely nothing. We've all heard the grand speeches from the so-called Karoo Messiah, Patriotic Alliance, Minister Gayton McKenzie. He promises miracles. He promises transformation. He promises the sun, the moon, and the Karoo stars. But when it comes to capacity, when it comes to actual implementation, it is Delolo, just like the friends he admires in the ANC. Let us speak plainly. South Africans are hungry. Communities are desperate. And while our people suffer, we have a minister who jets around, takes pictures with billionaires, and caught Shein, a global fast fashion giant known for hollowing out local textile industries across the world. And we've seen what that has done across the Cape Flats. Instead of fighting for South African jobs, he's clinking glasses, while thousands of potential jobs at home continue to vanish. And all this is happening while sports
Speaker.
federations, the very lifeline for young people, face funding cuts.
Honourable Van Minnen, please take your seat.
Speaker,
Honourable Petrus, is there a point of order?
Yes, Speaker, my apology. My hand was up. I think this is totally unacceptable. This is not about Minister McKenzie. This is about the vote. And that we.
Honourable Petrus, I'm not getting you. What's your point of order?
Speaker, this is not about Minister Gayton McKenzie. It's about the vote. It's about the Western Cape Parliament.
I will listen carefully, and I will direct the member if she's not getting to the adjustment vote. But there's nothing wrong with the the member's submission at this stage. That is not a point of order. Honourable van Minden, you may continue.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. And while all this is happening, sports federations, the very lifeline for young people, face funding cuts of up to 60% under the PA-run National Department of Sports, Arts and Culture. 60%, which is well over half. These reckless cuts will devastate grassroots sport, collapse development pipelines, and shut the door of opportunity on thousands of young people who rely on sport to escape poverty, crime, and hopelessness. You cannot claim to care about young people while you choke off the very programs that keep them off the streets. We've also not forgotten the events of 2022. At a gala dinner fundraiser in Sandton, the then Mayor, Gayton McKenzie, raised 3
Honourable
million
van
rand.
Minden, please take your seat. Honourable Petrus, is that a new point of order?
Yes, Speaker.
What is your point?
Speaker,
Order members, there's a member on the floor.
The honourable members keep on speaking about Minister McKenzie and the PA. And that's nothing to do. This is nothing to do with the PA now and Minister McKenzie. This is about the work of the Western Cape Parliament.
Thank you very much, Honourable Petrus. Honourable Petrus, the member is drawing a comparison between the National Minister of Sport and Cultural Affairs to the Western Cape. Like we do in all other votes, that is not a point of order. Honourable van Minden, you may continue.
Thank you very much. And just in case we've already forgotten, let us not forget the events of 2022. At a gala dinner fundraiser in Sandton, the then Mayor, Gayton McKenzie, raised 3 million rand for service delivery in the Central Karoo District Municipality. Yet, according to reports at the time, those funds were never deposited into the municipality's accounts. The people of the Karoo never saw the benefit.
Honourable van Minden, please take your seat. Honourable Constable, is that a new point of order?
Speaker, good morning and good morning to everyone. Speaker, yes, there's a new point of order. Speaker, what's
your point of order?
This event that this member is talking about is under investigation, so I don't think he must raise it here. Thank you, Speaker.
Order, members. Thank you very much, Honourable Constable. According to the information that I have, it's not in front of a court, and therefore it's not sub judice. That is not a point of order. Honourable van Minden, you may continue.
Thank you. The Karoo never saw the benefit. Not one tap installed, not one pothole fixed, not one community uplifted. We cannot ignore the concerns long raised about Minister McKenzie's history, his convictions, his time as a 26 gang boss, and allegations of ongoing links to criminal figures, not to mention his use of rather dubious language. These are serious matters, and when such concerns meet poor governance and populist grandstanding, the result is instability, distrust, and pain for communities who already carry too much. Now, to contrast this chaos with what is happening in the Western Cape, under DA leadership, real leadership, under the steady hand of the real McKenzie, who does not shout loudly on social media, but quietly delivers, sometimes, not that quiet. Let me remind this House what competent, community-centered governance looks like.
Honourable van Minden, please take your seat. Honourable Constable, is that a new point of order?
Yes, Speaker, it is. The information in front of you, Speaker, I believe it's wrong. If MEC Anton Bordel can clarify this, you will see that this matter or that matter is definitely sub judice.
Thank you very much, Honourable Constable. I've already ruled and I have been guided by the table staff in that regard. Honourable van Minden, you may continue.
Thank you. Let me remind this House what competent, community-centered governance looks like. Firstly, youth development that keeps our young people safe. In the Western Cape, the MOD program has reached 58,000 learners. And 38,000 participated regularly. The Year Beyond program trained and placed 3,074 unemployed youth, giving them work experience and community value. A total of 8,087 at-risk youth were supported through after-school programs, preventing crime and building hope. This is real investment in young people, not selfies with foreign corporations. Secondly, budgets that grow opportunity and do not shrink it. The 25-26 adjusted budget shows an increase in 10 million rand, including 850,000 to support community sport and cultural initiatives, 144,000 rand for safe ablution facilities at the Prince Albert netball courts, 2,282,000 for new library books, building literacy, knowledge, and community education. Colleagues, this is the difference between populism and performance, between talkers and doers, between those who make promises and those who deliver outcomes. The Karoo in South Africa do not need a fake messiah. South Africa does not need another loud politician searching for cameras. What our people need, what they deserve, is leadership rooted in accountability, transparency, and delivery. Leadership that grows jobs instead of chasing headlines. Leadership that funds sport, culture, and education instead of cutting them to the bone. Leadership that builds communities instead of breaking trust. And that is why I must reject the theatrics of the PA, reject the empty promises, and reject the politics of chaos. Our country cannot afford any more Delolo development. It is time to choose delivery over drama. It is time to choose the future over noise. It is time to choose leaders who work, not leaders who perform only political hubris. The DA support this budget in full. I'm going to end my speech by borrowing the words of a famous urban poet. Will the real Mackenzie please stand up? I thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Honourable Van Minnen. I now recognize the Minister of Cultural Affairs and Sports, Minister Mackenzie.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Honourable Speaker, the Honourable Benson says that the budget, our budget undermines our intelligence.
Honourable Minister, yesterday I ruled in your favour when somebody referred to you as Honourable Ricardo. That's Honourable Gensu.
Honourable Speaker, the Honourable Benson Gensu said that the budget undermines our intelligence. I think the Honourable Gensu is undermining the intelligence of this House with his comments. Honourable colleagues, I think it was my Minister Bartman, I know she's online, who keep on reminding us that readers are leaders, because the comments that Honourable Benson has made is not reflected in our report. So I'll refer the member to the report as submitted and to the report of the standing committee that was given to Honourable Benson in the standing committee. The Honourable Ngensu read, apologize, I withdraw that. The Honourable Ngensu.
Honourable Minister, please take your seat. Honourable Gensu.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Chair. Member Mackenzie continues to address me by my first name despite your ruling. And I made this House a favor and said, for Xhosa speaking, I'm Ngensu. For non-Xhosa speaking, they call me Pensu. I accepted that. But you continue to call me Benson. Is that Parliament accepted in this House? Or is it undermining your ruling?
I note the point of order. I have previously ruled. Minister, I am cautioning you. Can you please address the honourable member correctly?
Thank you, Honourable Kenso. Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Honourable Speaker, I'd like to read the Honourable member made some comments, but I'm going to read him a lovely letter. This letter was written by a young man currently in Pretoria. He's playing in Johannesburg, Ekurhuleni, and he's expressing his gratitude for the opportunity to present the Western Cape at the Winter Games. So it's obviously unacceptable for anyone not to have access to opportunities, but there are majority of our people in this province, overwhelming, that does have opportunities. And we should also focus on the positive things that happen. This is a letter that he wrote to me. Dear esteemed members of the Western Cape government, I'm writing to express my deepest and sincerest gratitude for the profound opportunity granted to me to represent the Western Cape in the rugby division at the highly anticipated games. Being selected to compete under the banner of the Western Cape, it's an incredible honor and a realization of a long-held dream. The department's commitment to supporting and developing athletes across the province is evident through this selection, and I'm profoundly thankful for the faith you have placed in my abilities. I'm dedicated to competing with the utmost determination, sportsmanship, and pride, serving to bring back distinction and success back to the Western Cape. This is our ultimate goal. We want 100% of learners in this province to have these opportunities. But sadly, given the years of corruption, years of neglect, years of policy and decisions made for thieves to steal at national government, we are dealt the hand we deal with, and we've dealt with it successfully so, but we need to work harder to make sure all those other young men have that honorable member raised, have access to opportunities, and through our school sports strategy, we will work hard to reach all young people in this province. And I hope the honorable member will work with us in amplifying the access to mod centers, access to schools, access to after-school programs, access to 376 libraries across the province, so that these young people are not destitute and don't sit with limited opportunities. So our job as public reps is to broadcast, to share these opportunities to all people across the Western Cape. I tabled this adjustment budget. I thank my colleagues. I thank the Western Cape Cabinet, my head of department, the team in the ministry who's worked tirelessly to deliver this great adjustment budget. And I thank you, Honourable Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honourable Minister Mackenzie. Honourable members, before I move on and conclude the debate on this vote, there was a point of order by the Honourable Constable based on the submission by Honourable Van Minnen. Honourable Constable, we will review the submission or the speech delivered, and I will come back if there's a need to the House to make a ruling based on the submission by Honourable Van Minnen. That concludes the debate on this vote. The Secretary will read the third order of the day.
Debate on Vote 8, Mobility Western Cape Adjustments Appropriation Bill, B5, 2025.
Thank you very much. I recognize the Minister of Mobility, Minister Seleko.
Goedemorgen, Speaker. Ik moet voor u geluk wensen voor ieder jaar een herdenking. 3 jaar is inderdaad niet 3 dagen nie. Dat wil gedoen wees. Baie geluk. Honorable Speaker, Honorable Deputy Speaker, Honorable Members of the House, Premier in absentia, Cabinet colleagues, esteemed guests in the gallery, Team Mobility, Goeiemorgen, Molweni, good morning. Mobility is not just movement from point A to point B. It is a lifeline of opportunity. When people can move freely, they can work, learn, heal, and connect. When mobility is denied, progress stalls. Our task today is to shape our future in which every journey leads to possibility. Honorable Speaker, today I rise to table the additional funding of 141.662 million allocated to the Western Cape Mobility Department in the 25-26 adjusted appropriation. This investment strengthens public transport, boosts regulation and enforcement, and drives the use of technology for a more efficient, fair, and dignified mobility system. With 57% of households in our province not owning a car, transport is not a luxury, it is a lifeline. Speaker, public transport is the backbone of our economy. Therefore, the provincial funding received will be utilized as follows. 56.6 million supports ongoing expansion of the Go George service, including 2 additional buses on the Uniondale to George route. With 33 routes and 6 million annual passenger trips, Go George is indeed transforming lives. Local businesses like Crystalline and Mike's Supermarket thrive as part of the Go George vendor network. 2.887 million supports the Intertown Rural Transport Solutions, co-created with communities in the Central Karoo and Tewaterskloof, ensuring rural citizens stay connected to jobs and services. Now focusing on the mode of transport that carries millions of commuters every day, the minibus taxi industry. 4.297 million will be utilized towards the minibus taxi industry reforms. Part of this funding will be utilized to incrementally introduce the Shaila Smart program, which is co-funded with the City of Cape Town. Shaila Smart aims to improve quality, safety, and the progressive transformation of the minibus taxi industry. Honorable Speaker, challenges in the minibus taxi industry, including violence, intimidation, extortion, and fierce competition persist and have no place in our society. That is why my team and I are working tirelessly to change the landscape of this dynamic industry. In line with our values of dignity and fairness, Honorable Speaker, 10 million will be allocated to differently abled mobility services, otherwise known as dial-a-ride. This committed amount, in partnership with the City of Cape Town, will help disabled citizens access jobs and essential services. In line with the National Land Transport Act, the NLTA, integrated transport plans must undergo regular review to ensure alignment with evolving mobility needs. To meet this requirement, we have allocated 5 million to strengthen local authorities' capacity by focusing on the collection of demand and supply data for transport operation. This data will play a critical role in shaping operating license plans, ensuring that decisions are informed, efficient, and responsive to real-world conditions. Honorable Speaker, maximizing and optimizing revenue have been a theme which is actively pursued within the province. Our revenue collection successes will allow the allocation of 14 million to procure handheld devices for our brave men and women in blue who risk their lives daily to keep our roads safe. Honorable Speaker, technology is a pivotal part of our road safety initiatives. This is evident in the 15% reduction in road fatalities recorded during the 24-25 festive season. Speaker, congestion continues to hamper mobility across our province. To address this need, 3.369 million supports projected preparation for park and ride infrastructure in Cape Town and Stellenbosch, easing congestion and supporting environmental sustainability. 9.303 funding funds the Provincial Sustainable Transport Program, supporting non-motorized transport, freight efficiency, low carbon mobility, and institutional development. 5 million funds will mass meters to reduce overloading and protect provincial roads. Speaker, mobility is hope. Take Ms. Asra Roberts, she's also here. After 2 years of unemployment, even going to an interview was impossible. Transport costs stood between her and the opportunity. Through our job seeker travel voucher program, Ms. Roberts and thousands like her now have a real chance to secure economic opportunities. Let's give her a round of applause. She's employed today. To date, Honorable Speaker, over 19,000 job seekers have benefited, with an estimated 2.4 people securing employment. Speaker, a simple ride changes lives. One of our bicycle beneficiaries, Mr. Lifa Malchas from Kwalanga, is a facilitator of children under 10 who makes use of Project Playground. Lifa, can you just stand as a brief? Before
Minister, I don't want to curb your speed, but please speak to me.
My apologies, Somlom. Before receiving the bicycle, he had to walk everywhere, but now he can reach more people in less time with a bicycle. And for visually impaired learners like Blessing Nudu from Pioneer School in Worcester, tactile paving has brought safety, independence, and dignity. Speaker, in October 2025, we launched the Taking the Service to the Nation initiative. The initiative aims to bring services for applying or renewing operating licenses, permits, and driver documents closer to the rural and outskirt areas. That has been our focus, Speaker, to make sure that we don't leave anyone behind when it comes to services that is out of the city. And that initiative is just bear testament to our approach. The first areas to benefit from these services, Honorable Speaker, on Wheels initiatives were Swartland, Swellendam, and of course, Beaufort West. Speaker, in our effort to further reach other areas, an additional 1.725 million will be allocated to fund another service delivery vehicle, allowing us to bring licensing services closer to communities. Further, we will use 19.228 million to settle agency fees to local authorities across the province for motor vehicle licenses fees collected on behalf of the department. To support overall departmental operations and facility upgrades, 5.57 million is allocated toward administration. As custodian of public funds, we remain committed to a transparent, efficient, performance-based budgeting. We will closely monitor delivery to ensure every rand achieves measurable impact. By improving mobility, we are shaping the Western Cape where dignity is upheld, fairness is advanced, and every journey is safer so that we move forward, grow, and thrive together. I thank you, baie dankie en koos.
Baie dankie, agbare minister. I recognize Honorable Gensu.
Mr. Speaker, members of this House, the MEC. Let me start off by presenting the ANC view on the question of on the decision of the Western Cape High Court on December 5, 2025, in the matter between the Provincial Minister of Mobility and the minibus taxi industry, where an earlier interim order about the minibus taxi industry is made a permanent order. If this is how the minister and the industry seek to engage, resolve issues, it is unfortunate. Speaker, as the ANC, we do not engage in this debate for its own sake. As public reps of the working class, our responsibility is to interrogate this budget adjustment, to dissect it thorough and determine whether it truly stands to benefit the black majority of this province, or whether it is yet another attempt to pull the wool over their eyes. There is evidence, however, that this budget adjustment is yet another attempt to pull the wool over the eyes of our people. This evidence is reflected, Speaker, in the allocation made for the Shayela Smart Program and the introduction of the 3 scheduled routes in Beaufort West under what is termed town road transport. The general content of the Shayela Smart Program exposes the department's shallow grasp of the nature and the sources of the challenges within the minibus taxi industry, as its content and focus are centered merely on driver behavior and safety. Speaker, to us as the movement, any meaningful Shayla Smart program must, in its content, speak to radical transformation of the industry through meaningful empowerment, funding, and the formalization of the industry like any other sector for our economy in this province. Such a program must benefit both taxi operators and drivers. Further, any funding for the Shayla Smart program need to be located and within the particular context and also confront the elephant in the room, transport planning, MEC. In its current form, planning in this province is not responsive nor agile to the rapid population growth, industrial and residential expansion occurring across the province. That's the question. How is it possible that municipalities, on the one hand, approve industrial and residential development plans, yet on the other hand, ignore transport needs of the workers and residents of those very areas? Another problematic feature of this program, on this question, we expect abasebenzi and residents to fly to getting to where they work and live. That's the issue which we believe it must be confronted. Another problematic feature is this program is its narrow obsession with strict regulation. Strict regulation must be addressed within the context of both department and municipality fixing planning failures. We must not approve a Shayla program whose regulatory focus is punitive. It must be empowering. Similarly, the so-called intertown road transport for West should be piloted with purpose and in the best interest of our road poor. As it stands, it is a drop in the ocean compared to the mobility needs of road workers, learners, and job seekers. The intertown road transport program should be built on the back of focused rural industrialization. Anything outside of this remains nothing but pulling wool over the eyes of the rural poor for the 2026 local government elections. We therefore call for a comprehensive rural mobility strategy rooted in rural economic development and industrialization at the heart. It cannot be that every year we sit in this House, Speaker, and listen to recycled commitments that never translate into meaningful change. Every year, the same communities face the same transport hardship, unsafe, unreliable, unaffordable mobility. And every year, we are presented with budgets that promise progress but deliver little beyond press statements and political branding. Speaker, this department cannot continue to operate without clear, integrated, and transformative provincial mobility plan, transport plan. Transport planning must be aligned with industrial development, housing expansion, and economic nodes. The silo approach is failing our people until municipalities and this Department of Human Settlement, Mobility, Economic Development authorities coordinate planning. The transport crisis will persist. In the context of this budget, we see no evidence of such integration. Instead, we are offered piecemeal projects disconnected from the broader socio-economic landscape of this province. Speaker, we have seen a recurring theme of rolling over funds and realigning to future years. This indicates the lack of capacity to spend. Rollover, as we always insist, is a function of underspending. And that talks to the question of capacity in the department. Speaker, we cannot and will not lend our support to a budget adjustment that offers surface-level interventions whilst avoiding the fundamental transformation required in our mobility system. We cannot endorse programs that are more aligned with electioneering than genuine development for our people. And we cannot rubber stamp a departmental approach that remains reactive, fragmented, and disconnected from the lived realities of our people. We cannot endorse and unexplain the rollovers of budget, endless failures to fill vacancies. Speaker, I must conclude by saying, until this department presents a budget that reflects a decisive break with the past, a budget related in empowerment, formalization, integrated planning, and rural upliftment, will continue to hold it accountable in this House. It's not personal, Nom Dimba, but you were elected. We have to confront you, Mchana Semakomazi. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honourable Member. I recognize the Honourable Constable.
Good morning, Deputy Speaker, and good morning to everyone in the chambers. Deputy Speaker, let me welcome and thank the MEC for the 2.7 million allocated to Beaufort West for the intertown transport. However, Deputy Speaker, the Patriotic Alliance have supported the budget votes and the budget for this province and for this government. However, the ongoing disrespect that members of this House from the Democratic Alliance showed to the Democratic Alliance and Mr. Gayton McKenzie, we will not and cannot support this vote or any other vote as we're going forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Member. I recognize the Honourable Heron.
Thank
Order,
you, Deputy
members.
Speaker.
Order, members.
Deputy
Members. Members, the table staff is wanting to commence the clock. Honourable Heron, you may commence.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Deputy Speaker, I just want to make one simple point, which is to express appreciation for the decision, the common sense decision, to support the additional allocation of 10 million rand to the Dial Ride program, a program that was initiated by the Western Cape government and the City of Cape Town about 2 decades ago. This is really common sense leadership, and it's in stark contrast with the leadership of the City of Cape Town, who refused to find additional funding to sustain the service at its current levels, opting instead to cut access to it for long-time users. So in a province where mobility barriers can determine whether someone can work, access healthcare, or simply participate in daily life, this commitment is not just a budget line item. It is really dignity, it's opportunity, and it's inclusion, and we welcome it. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Heron. I recognize the Honourable Professor Umbombo.
Deputy Speaker, phambi kokuba ndityatyadule ndixhasa olubiwo-mali leSebe lezoThutho, laat ons eers praat oor die menslike koste wat ons werk sou dreigen maak. We extend our sincere condolences to every family and friend who has lost a loved one on our roads this year. To the mothers, fathers, children, and friends left grieving, you are in our thoughts, and we express our deep gratitude to every paramedic, firefighter, traffic officer, and support staff member who races to the scene of tragedy. Your dedication has undoubtedly saved countless lives. This festive season, that dedication is already being tested. In the first week alone, we recorded 28 fatalities, 28 empty chairs at Christmas tables. That is why we urge every resident, road safety is interdependent. We rely on one another. Do not drink and drive. Ensure you get rested before you travel. Ensure your vehicle is roadworthy and always buckle up. We strongly welcome the Minister of Mobility's comprehensive, fully funded festive season plan with strengthened enforcement, joint operations, free vehicle checks, and a 10 million behavioral change campaign. This government shows a real commitment to turning the tide after last year's tragic loss of 240 lives. Honourable Deputy Speaker, this adjustment is not merely an administrative exercise. It is a substantial and targeted injection of capital to accelerate development that is already delivering measurable life-saving results. The 2024 festive season, which is the past festive season, we saw a 15.24% decrease in road fatalities. This is not by chance. It is the result of a relentless data-driven strategy, which this budget seeks to amplify. We hope the 2025 festive season, this one, will treat us kindly and we see more reductions in the roads accidents, including the pedestrians. The department is investing 56.8 million to fast-track the George Integrated Public Transport Network. This is a direct investment in the future of George residents, creating a modern, reliable public transport system that connects people to opportunities. The department is also allocating 19.2 million specifically for motor vehicle license agency fees. This is an essential operational investment to ensure this critical citizen service runs efficiently, reducing queues and frustration for every vehicle owner in the province. Critically, a 10 million to the Department of Mobility for different able mobility. Member Heron has already explored in terms of how grateful we are. This is a non-negotiable investment in dignity and access, ensuring transport system leaves no one behind. But Honorable Deputy Speaker, the final story is broader than these direct allocations. This budget supports the operational engine behind the department's success. It funds the technology, the average speed over distance cameras, and automated number plate recognition systems that makes enforcement smarter. It resources the expanded highway patrol and public transport interceptor units that are making roads safer. It enables the Shayla Smart program, which is professionalizing the minibus industry within. This financial backing yields a tangible return on investment. The Job Seekers Travel Voucher Program that the Minister has already alluded to, funded through the department, has already supported over 15,000 beneficiaries, with 49% reporting they found employment. They subsidize over 30 million kilometers of bus travel annually. These are not just line items in a budget. They are lifelines for our residents. Furthermore, the department is making strategic investment that will save money and grow economy in the long term. The overback freight rail pilot is a prime example. By investing to shift freight from road to rail, we'll remove about 40,000 trucks from the N2, reducing the immense cost of road maintenance, lowering logistic costs for farmers specifically by about 30%, and creating a cleaner, more competitive province. The minibus taxi executive leadership program is an investment in stability. The cost of taxi violence and disruption to our economy is immense. By investing in leadership, we are investing in peace, predictability, and professional service for millions. In conclusion, Deputy Speaker, we support this adjustment budget because it is a budget of impact investment. It channels millions directly into the projects that move people, protect people, and employ people. It funds the technology and personnel that have already reduced fatalities. It invests in the systemic changes in freight, in taxis, in universal access that will build a more prosperous and equitable Western Cape. This is the budget that gets value for money because it invests in saving lives and building futures. Enkosi kakhulu.
Thank you, Professor Umbombo. I recognize the Honorable Nkwensu.
Can it be given that 9 minutes which remain from the chairperson of the committee?
Thank you, Honorable
Remains
Nkwensu.
already from this side.
I've already ruled yesterday in this regard. We will proceed, and I recognize the Minister, Minister Seleku.
Baie dankie, Adjunct Speaker. I'm going to try and respond to some of the issues that was raised by Member Nent. And firstly, on the issue of Shayla Smart. How Shayla Smart was born was between the City of Cape Town, the Department of Mobility, and Santaco Western Cape. So I think what we need to do, maybe a chairperson, next year we must have a presentation to Member Nent so that we can understand what Shayla Smart is all about and how it was born, so that you can have an understanding. Because seemingly I understand the guys are not in there. Yeah, and then secondly, Deputy Speaker, the issue of the interdict. It's very disappointing at times when you are given a responsibility as a department to regulate the industry, and you do what is expected from you as a department, and you follow due processes. And then we are glad that the court has actually ruled, in favor of the department to make sure that there will not be any intimidation. There won't be any killings at our taxi ranks, because if it happens, then there's going to be legal action against those associations. And those are the kind of things that we are going to implement. We are not apologetic about it. The interdict has been made permanent, and it's a victory, not for us as the mobility department, but it's a victory for the residents of this province that are reliant on this mode of transport, which is the taxis, that their lives will be actually, will be protected by the department and by law that we are going to instill. So I'm glad that the courts have ruled in our favor. So you should actually, appreciate that. Let's deal with the issue of the integrated planning. We all know, in terms of our municipalities, the issue of funding and capacity. Instead of us folding on our arms when it comes to issues of mobility and transport planning, we are not saying the municipalities don't have money. We've just allocated 5 million exactly for that particular purpose, so that we are able to assist our municipalities when they are putting up their ITPs, so that we integrate and we can go forward. So we are not folding our arms, we are doing something. And I think the least that you can do is to appreciate. And let's talk about the inter-rural transport solutions. During SOPA in Beaufort West, Member Barnes made a cry, Chairperson, that people in Mauriceburg have issues when it comes to public transport. And what did we do as mobility? We did not ask who you come from, which party you represent. You came with a problem. We said, okay, we do a pilot. And that's what you are attending to now. And it must be applauded. And that's what you are doing. We're trying to address all the issues when it comes to, and also to Member Constable, I don't know why you are not supporting us, because we are bringing services to Beaufort, because now you say you don't support because iemand het jou nou kwaad gemaak. Ek dink ons kan beter doen. Member Heron, thank you very much for your encouraging words and the decision that we have made, and also to ask Provincial Treasury for additional funding for Dial-A-Ride, and must also thank Minister Bartman for actually giving us extra money so that we are able to continue with universal access, so that we don't leave anyone behind. Chairperson, thank you very much for your leadership and for the manner in how you treat us when we appear before your committee, and for your constructive suggestions in terms of how we can actually better the Department of Mobility. Deputy Speaker, in closing, I would like to extend my heartfelt appreciation to the colleagues in Cabinet and the Premier, to the Standing Committee Chairperson, and also to Member Nlensu for always being constructive, destructive. But when we are out of meetings and then we say, well, no, yeah, we see the same things. But when we are in front of the cameras, then it's anders, maar that's menselijk. It happens. And also Team Mobility for their leadership under Bibi Hamida, the HOD, and all our CDs for their work under difficult circumstances. We are able to push forward. We are able to implement. And also to my ministry, as young as they are, thank you very much for holding my hand, for always being on the road with me as we are living today, because we're not going to have Christmas. We were supposed to be in Mossel Bay, but we are not there because we are making sure that people arrive safely at their destination. And that's what we'll be doing during the festive season. And I would just want to encourage all the members that will be, embarking on the roads, that they make sure that their vehicles are roadworthy, and that if you see a pedestrian on the road, please slow down so that we don't hit our pedestrians. And then if your car is not roadworthy, don't even try to bring onto the road, because we are going to discontinue that car. And then, and finally, to my family that allows me always to be on the road, and for making sure that they look after my kids and they go to school. Thank you very much for the support. With those few words, I wish everyone a blessed festive season. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Minister Seleku. That concludes the third order of the day. The Secretary will now read the fourth order of the day.
Debate on Vote 10, Infrastructure, Western Cape Adjustments Appropriation Bill, B5, 2025.
Thank you. Before I recognize the Minister, please allow me to welcome the guests and officials in the box to my right. I now recognize the Minister.
Thank you very much, Honourable Deputy Speaker, Premier Windy, who's online, my fellow members of Cabinet, Honourable members of the House, our guests in the gallery, also our citizens who are following the process. And Pratini Deval, Premier, welcome physically. Firstly, I would like to thank Minister Bartman for tabling the Western Cape government's adjustment budget last week, which includes a major and indeed a welcome injection into our infrastructure portfolio. Deputy Speaker, this investment is not coincidental. It is fully aligned with this government's apex priority, which is led by my colleague next to me, supported by the entire cabinet, which is enabling a growing economy that creates jobs. Our aptly themed budget, Scaling for Growth, captures precisely what we are driving in the Western Cape's infrastructure space. Deputy Speaker, ons het reeds vanjaar besondere vordering gemaak met implementering wat die hoogte ingeskiet het. Hierdie projekte verbeter waardigheid, verbind al hoe meer gemeenskappe en maak ekonomiese groei vir werkgeleenthede moontlik. Under the Human Settlements Program alone, we have launched major inner-city affordable housing projects, which include the 918 million rand Leolo precinct, which will deliver 840 units. The landmark 2 billion rand Founders Garden development, which is the largest inner-city project undertaken by this provincial government, which will yield 2,630 housing opportunities. And our upcoming Prestwich precinct, which will yield 310 opportunities. In totaal, Deputy Speaker, het ons reeds meer as 9,630 wysingsgeleenthede. Ek wil herhaal, 9,630 wysingsgeleenthede uitgesluit sosiale behuising oorhandig. En 3,880 titelaktes, en dit alles is in die eerste 3 kwartale van die huidige boekjaar gelewer deur ons span by menslike nedersettings. Dit is waardigheid in aksie. On our road infrastructure, we have seen again how strategic investment unlocks opportunity. And in just 9 months of this financial year, we have opened 115 million rand Rondevlei Road near Sedgefield, 195 million rand road in St. Helena Bay, the 38 million rand Citrusdal Road, which we had to rebuild the section that was affected by flood damage, the 43 million rand Boentjieskaal Road near Botrivier, the 351 million rand Baden-Powell dual carriageway upgrade, the 491 million rand Stanford-Gansbaai Road in Overstrand, and the 54 million rand Maalgate Bridge near George. All of this within the last 9 months. Each of these projects connects our communities, they strengthen local economies, and they support hundreds of work opportunities, especially for our emerging contractors. This is what scaling up for growth looks like. And with this significant adjustment of 1.1 billion rand to our infrastructure budget, we will surely be able to do even more towards the end of this financial year. Deputy Speaker, ek is trots om ons aansuiveringsbegroting van 10.928 miljard rand vandag ter tafel te lê. When honourable members actually look closely at vote 10 in this adjustments budget, a very clear picture will emerge to all of us. We are not only scaling for growth in the Western Cape, we are sharpening the tools that will enable that growth into the future. Therefore, in terms of Programme 1, there is a focused 16 million rand adjustment to further strengthen our governance, our controls, and our support systems, ensuring that as our delivery pipeline expands, our institutional backbone stays agile, but above all fit for purpose. Because good governance to us is not optional, it is the foundation of credible infrastructure delivery. In terms of Programme 2, this 110.8 million rand adjustment prioritizes maintenance, property-related obligations, and the provision and technical expertise required to keep our projects moving. It supports essential mandates such as, for Minister Lund, the Youth Care Centre maintenance, which he requires, but also other key capital commitments. This is ultimately the scaffolding that keeps government infrastructure safe, compliant, and operational. In terms of Programme 3, which also gets the largest adjustment for us an amount of 777.4 million rand. This is our roads infrastructure portfolio. This is a clear signal of our intent as we build the roads into the future for the Western Cape. This strengthens our provincial road upgrades and resurfacing program, our municipal support in terms of their road maintenance, where it's relevant, investments through the provincial roads maintenance grant, and our earmarked projects that unlock growth corridors and reduce travel time for our residents. Deputy Speaker, roads is how we stitch opportunity into the landscape across our province. Because infrastructure should not just be seen merely as asphalt and concrete. Through this, we are creating dignity. We are ensuring their safety, and we are giving more access to the people of our province. And as you give them access, in terms of Program 4, there's a 195.6 million rand adjustment, which will further ensure the momentum from the Lulu Founders Garden and others, that it is matched by the resources needed to even accelerate that delivery. Because through this, we are strengthening our human settlements development grant allocation strategically. We are accelerating our title deed restoration focus. We are ensuring that we are assisting municipalities in terms of planning and implementation support. Our provincial commitment to fast-tracking housing delivery will thus become a reality. And this is how, Honourable Deputy Speaker and members, we narrow the gap between what is policy and the lived reality of families who are legally waiting for a place to call home. In terms of Program 5, here we are allocating a targeted 390,000 rand to ensure that we continue to support job creation and our contractor development, ensuring that our smaller enterprises in our sector actually gain the experience, they get an income, but ultimately they also have that form of dignity. Because growth to our department is not only about mega projects, honourable members. It is about people gaining pathways into the economy of our province. Achtbare Deputy Speaker, saam stuur al hierdie aanpassings ter waarde van 1.1 miljard rand 'n duidelike boodskap onder die leiding van hierdie premier. Hierdie regering praat nie net oor ekonomiese groei nie. Ons begroot daarvoor, ons bou daarvoor en ons lewer daarvoor. Hierdie aansuiwingsbegroting is dus 'n mosie van vertroue deur hierdie kabinet en die regerende party van hierdie provinsie in die hardwerkende mense van ons provinsie. In ons vennote regoor plaaslike regering wat gewilliglik saam met ons werk en in die private sektor wat saam met ons voort wil bou. En in die oortuiging dat infrastruktuur die kragtigste hefboom is om 'n Weskaap te skep wat groei en werk skep, maar baie belangrik, ons mense bemagtig deur dit alles. Speaker, Deputy Speaker, I therefore hereby table the Department of Infrastructure's 2025-2026 Adjustment Appropriation Bill for the Western Cape Department of Infrastructure to consider and to debate. I thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. Before I recognize the following speaker, the podium is Honourable members, we proceed. I recognize Honourable Lekker.
Thank you, Honourable Deputy Speaker. Deputy Speaker and honourable members, today the African National Congress rises to speak not only in opposition to this budget, but in defense of the people whose lives are shaped every day by the decision taken in this House. We are confronted with a Department of Infrastructure that speaks the language of development, yet consistently fails to demonstrate that its priorities, its spending, and its operations genuinely serve the poor and the working class. What is presented before us is not people's budget. It is a bureaucrat's budget, one that protects administrative interests while communities wait in despair for roads, houses, water, sanitation, and basic dignity. The department reports a budget increase of 1.1 billion, including rollovers amounting to more than 500 million. Yet the figures do not match the lived reality of communities. We're told that funds from the provincial roads maintenance are intended to address flood damage from the disastrous weather events of 2023 and 2024. However, up to today, communities do not know which roads were assessed, which contractors were appointed, or when these repairs will be completed. The same lack of transparency applies to Cape Nature projects worth more than 180 million. This is not responsible governance. It is a pattern of withholding information that should, in a transparent democracy, be available to the very people affected by these failures. We welcome the additional national allocation of 79 million for disaster-related roads maintenance. It is clear that the national government continues to intervene compassionately where the provincial administration under the DA has been unprepared or unable to act. Further to this department's decision to centralize the road agency function by removing it from district municipalities and relocating it into the department itself is deeply troubling. This decision is backward. It strips municipalities of both capacity and resources, undermining their ability to serve local communities. It is designed to weaken local government, collapse district municipalities, and displace road workers whose jobs depend on this function. The department has offered no credible assurance that workers will be protected or that municipalities will retain the tools necessary to respond to local needs. This centralization is not reform, it is sabotage. Honorable members, we cannot be building a capable state by hollowing out local government. We need a people's budget model that strengthens municipalities, empowers workers, and ensures that resources flow directly to communities that need them the most. The ongoing failures in human settlement delivery further demonstrate why this budget is disconnected from reality. The department's poor track record is well documented. Hundreds of millions have previously been returned to the national government due to slow expenditure. Families like that of Ms. Bless in Vredebus, who was evicted from a dilapidated municipal building with a disabled son, remain without meaningful redress. There are no unfortunate exceptions. They were symptoms of systemic failure. The same can be said of informal settlement. The DA government has failed consistently to comprehensively provide even the most basic services. In 2023, the then Minister of Human Settlement, Mamoluko Kubai, announced that Housing Development Agency would assume responsibility for providing basic services to informal settlement in Cape Town. This was a response to years of inaction by the city. Today, families in Philippi and sections of Makaza have abandoned their homes because of blocked drains, and raw sewage have flooded their houses. Those who remain enjoy a daily stench that threatens their health and strips them of dignity. This is abandonment by an uncaring DA administration that has reportedly demonstrated contempt for the poor. For this reason, we welcome the transfer made in this budget to the Housing Development Agency and call for it to be given permanent responsibility for the provision of basic services in informal settlement. The DA has shown that it cannot deliver for these communities. It is time for a decisive shift that places the lives and dignity of our people above political convenience. Speaker, the Department of Infrastructure suffers from persistent governance weaknesses, poor audit outcomes, and instability in senior management. Its strategic goals are not matched by measurable output, and this vision of spatial transformation remains theoretical. Our province cannot afford another year of stalled projects, misplaced priorities, and weakened municipalities. The ANC calls for the people's budget that reinforces local government, accelerate housing and road delivery, protects workers and ensure transparency.
Kindly conclude, member.
For this reason, and in defense of accountability and the rights of the people of this province, the ANC firmly rejects this budget. I thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Lekker. I recognize the Honorable Petrus.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I stand by the statement of my colleague member Constable earlier.
Thank you, Honorable Petrus. I recognize the Honorable Lithakong. We proceed. I recognize the Honorable Heron.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Deputy Speaker, yesterday we were told to believe that the infrastructure department is the best in the country. It is so good that other departments are studying it. But we're also told to believe in grand targets while the delivery numbers expose a collapse. BNG housing delivery has plummeted 62% since 2019-2020, and last year this province scraped together only 3,000 units. Not due to a shortage of funding, this department lost 800 million rand over the last 2 financial years, which was withheld or redirected to other provinces. We're now told that there were 4 social housing projects have begun, yet they're nothing more than recycled inner city plans dressed up with new titles. Founders Garden has had a name change, but the site has been announced 4 times since 2011. And now this government claims it will deliver 50,000 housing opportunities in 5 years. But over the past 16 years, the sites that are supposed to deliver these housing opportunities have been used and re-announced for political performance, while not a single unit has actually been built. Based on this government's track record,
member.
These housing opportunities will be recycled in 2029 for the next election. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Heron. I recognize the Honorable Wessels.
Thank you very much, Deputy Speaker, Premier, Ministers, members, people in the gallery and the residents of the Western Cape that's listening online. Maybe let me first welcome the 5 opposition members that is currently in the House, and through you, Deputy Speaker, to the Minister, maybe it does say that age-old saying that attitude reflects leadership. Today, the Western Cape, the DA in the Western Cape supports the 25-26 adjustment budget because this is a budget that scales for growth. To scale for growth means this province recognizes the needs of an expanding population, a growth driven in large part by our own successes. People across South Africa chooses to live in the Western Cape because we govern well, we deliver services, and we have the lowest unemployment rate in the country. In simple terms, we invest in the people of the Western Cape, and we ensure that our economy continues to grow. Honourable Deputy Speaker, the DA welcomes the 1.1 billion rand adjustment to infrastructure, raising the total to nearly 11 billion. This is how a capable government responds to growth, by investing ambiguously. Nowhere is our scale for growth approach more evident than in the transport sector. Program 3 receives a 16.79 increase compared to the 25-26 main budget. Why? Because growth demands connectivity, growth demands mobility, growth demands the infrastructure that allows people, goods, and businesses to move efficiently and safely. The increase allows us to tackle backlogs, to repair what is worn, to expand what is stretched, and to build what is overdue. This DA-led Western Cape does not believe that that poor transport infrastructure must be a daily pain daily pain point for the people of our province. With this boost, we are scaling our capacity and we are improving lives, strengthening the economy and supporting communities across the province. Honourable Deputy Speaker, while this DA-led Western Cape resurfaced 488 kilometers of roads in the 425 financial year, investing specifically in road repairs in this adjustment budget, other provinces under 30 years of ANC rule have become a national embarrassment. Drive through the Eastern Cape, through the Limpopo, through the ANC-owned heartlands, and you'll not find a network, but rather a symmetry of infrastructure. A pothole on every road is not just an accident, it is a symbol. It is the ANC's calling card of failure. Why? Because caring requires competence, planning, and integrity. Caring means hiring engineers and not cadres. Caring means spending the road maintenance grant on TSAR and not on tender fraud. The ANC has failed on all accounts. Here in the Western Cape, a pothole is a problem to be fixed. Under the ANC, a pothole is a permanent feature of governance, a daily dangerous reminder of the contempt for service delivery. Deputy Speaker, vir mense wat
Honourable members, honourable members, honourable members, the rules are very clear. It borders on you interrupting the member while he has the floor. Please take your seat, honourable vessels. I recognize the honourable Nkwensu.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Member Vessels is misleading the House for saying the DA government, when there is a potholes, they fix it. There are potholes in Philippi, in Khayelitsha, as we speak.
Please, honourable Nkondlo. Honourable Nkondlo. Members, kindly, it is the final day. I can understand the energy. Kindly stick to and maintaining the decorum, but also there's various precedents in what type of language we use in the House. And please direct any points of order directly to the chair. Honourable Vessels, you may continue.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. For members that yesterday said that they don't cackle, het hulle dan vandag baie eiertjies om te lê. So, Honourable Deputy Speaker, we welcome the contrast. Let this country see it clearly. On the one side, a DA government that builds and maintains, on the other, ANC that neglects and destroys. While we use this adjustment budget to ensure that our roads remain pathways to prosperity, not moments to failure. This is what a government that cares actually does. Honourable Speaker, a province that grows must build homes, and a government that grows must deliver them faster, smarter, and at scale. Programme 4, Human Settlements, receives an 8.72 budget increase, bringing its total to 2.4 billion rand. With this allocation, we can scale the pace of delivery and respond to the growing housing demand driven by population growth, urban migration, and community needs. This is an adjustment budget that unlocks 3 major affordable mixed-use development in the heart of Cape Town: Leeuloop, Founders Garden, and Prestwich Crescent. This means that 3,500 opportunities where they matter most, close to jobs, transport, clinics, and schools. Because to us, housing is not about counting units. It is about building communities of dignity. Honourable Deputy Speaker, unlike the ANC, 27 years later, the District 6 restitution project stands as one of the ANC's most devastating failures, with 954 claimants still waiting for their homes that they were promised. Despite the decades of absolute control over the budget, the department and the mandate, the ANC has delivered only 247 units, while using District 6 as an election slogan instead of a justice project. Here in the Western Cape, we deliver on what we promise, and we use the money for what it is intended. We don't play politics with people's lives. Honourable Speaker, scaling for growth also require long-term planning, innovation and modern systems. That is why this budget includes a range of targeted, future-focused allocations. 18.639 million for the departmental strategy from the asset finance reserve, 3.563 million to acquire property for the education because a growing province needs the educational spaces. 1.077 million for retention cost on the solar PV project at agriculture because growth must be sustainable. 74 million for the Western Cape Infrastructure Framework 2050 digital transformation because to scale delivery, we must scale our digital capabilities. 29.43 million for the facility condition assessments for the Guiama cycle and MTEF period, because growth must be built on accurate planning and responsible asset management. Each of these allocations expand our capacity to plan better, to work smarter, and to build for the next decade, not just for the next financial year. Honourable Speaker, what does scale for growth mean for our residents? It means roads that connect people to jobs. It means homes that anchor families in safety. It means digital systems that accelerates planning and delivery. It means energy efficient buildings that reduce cost of carbon emissions. It means a government that does not wait for tomorrow's challenges. We prepare for them today. This vote
Honourable
says.
Wessels, please take your seat. Honourable members, that a point of order?
Yes, Chair. Member Vessels can't break the record of speaking more than 10 minutes. Others for at least,
Honourable member, that is not a order.
9 minutes.
Order. Order.
Can you allow him to, can you ask him to conclude, please, sir?
There's, honourable member, that is not a point of order, and it is actually against the rules rising on a frivolous point of order. We are trying to get through the business of the day, and that's a frivolous point of order. Honourable Wessels, you may continue.
Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker. And in my 8.5 minutes that I've spoken, I think I've said, spoke more sense than all of the opposition parties together today. So this vote clearly says we are scaling our infrastructure, we are scaling our housing delivery, we are scaling our capacity, and we are scaling our future. And we are doing so because the people of this province deserve a government that grows as fast as its ambitions. Let us work together across parties, across departments, across communities to turn this vote into a real progress on the ground. Roads that shorten journeys, homes that changes lives, infrastructure that drives investment, and a system that prepare our province for the next 25 years. We are scaling for growth. We are scaling for opportunity, and we are scaling for the people of this province. And with your support, we will deliver. The DA supports this vote. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I recognize the Minister. Order.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Firstly, let me start off.
Honourable members, we're trying to get through a long list of orders. Can I please ask that you cooperate with me? Honourable Minister, you may continue.
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, let me first start off by thanking all the members who participated in today's debate on Budget Vote 10. But listening to those who have participated in terms of the opposition, it is clear that some are still stuck in the past, forgetting where they are presently and what we are shaping into the future. In terms of the ANC, I do want to thank Member Lekker for a very tamelike breë konteks en inhoud van haar konteks, agbare Speaker. Maar dit is te wagte dat 'n party wat vir 30 jaar soos 'n blinde mol gefunksioneer het, nie hierdie aansybringsbegroting sal ondersteun nie. En dis hoekom die wysigingsprogram op 'n nasionale vlak lyk soos hy lyk. Hierdie begroting is inderdaad eintlik vir die werkersklas en vir ons arme mense wie wettiglik vir hulle behuisingsgeleenthede wag. I must emphasize who legally wait for the housing opportunity. I do not entertain people who illegally occupy land and expect the state to then support them at the expense of those who have been waiting for their housing opportunity. So those areas who you refer to are people who invaded land. We must assist those who are legally on a housing waiting list. That is our function. That is this government's function. Honorable Lekker, you say you do not understand, or there's no transparency from the roads component in terms of our roads repair program. Yet the standing committee received quite a thorough presentation in terms of what we are doing and where we are doing it.
Order.
I'm happy that you do welcome the national
Order.
funding.
Honorable Lekker, honorable members, you had an opportunity, Honorable Nkondlo. Honorable members, you had an opportunity to contribute to the debate. The minister is now responding to that debate. It doesn't open an opportunity for you to now dialogue the minister from your bench in the floor. When we break for lunch, you can continue that conversation. But for now, the minister is on the floor. Minister, please speak to me and not directly to the members.
Toe het regspreker verstaan, hakskeen by ook 'n plek in die samelewing, maar in elk geval, Speaker, indeed, I'm happy that the Honorable Lekker does welcome the national funding. I welcome it too. But if you look at the extent of the damage which we incurred over 2 financial years, it was over R1 billion. So we do welcome it, but they actually could have given us a lot more, to be quite honest. The Honourable Member then goes on to the new roads delivery model. Speaker, through you to the member, I think to all of the members in the House, it is not the function of my department to ensure that district municipalities are viable. They executed an agency function on behalf of my department. They were not cost effective. 3 of those 5 districts. But all of those staff are being paid by this provincial department. So they will not lose their work. They are just now coming back home where they ultimately belong. All the equipment that you see in all of our road camps across this province belongs to province. It does not belong to a district municipality. We even funded the infrastructure for our roads teams in all of our 5 districts. So please, it's not correct to say people are going to lose their work. And I want to reiterate on record, Speaker, through you. It is not the function of this department to keep district municipalities viable. They must execute their constitutional mandate. In terms of Cynthia Best, Honourable Speaker, I'm happy to report to this House that finally the construction of the next phase is to commence, and Cynthia Best will get the house for her and her disabled child. But it could have happened a lot quicker if Eskom had ensured that there's sufficient bulk to ensure that we can electrify those units. We cannot build houses that stand without having electricity. Then that is another issue as well. The Honourable Member then goes on to talk about the informal settlement program and our focus. Speaker, we are a data-backed and data-focused government, none more so than this department. I cannot respond when an informal settlement is 2 weeks old. But there are still informal settlements in this province that are older than 20 years that still need our attention. But it's ironic, Honourable Speaker, that the grant which was earmarked to focus on informal settlements is being reduced over the next 3 years by 2/3 of the ultimate budget which we started off with. So perhaps through you, Honourable Speaker, what the Honourable Pat Lekker must ask her national counterpart, why is it if they are talking about informal settlements, are they reducing the same grant by 2/3 across all 9 provinces, not just in the Western Cape? And that is fact. Die further, Honourable Speaker, die Honourable, hulle kan maar geraas maak, ek gaan praat. Jy gaan nie ophou nie, spin. Honourable Speaker, the Honourable Member talks about spatial transformation. No other government ensures sustainable spatial transformation in terms of the rule of law like this provincial government through my department does. Jy kan nie spoeg en plak spatial transformation doen nie. Jy moet dit in die reël van die wet doen. Now I move over to the Patriotic Alliance. If they can show me one service they've delivered in this province where they're governing coalition, I will actually applaud them. This is a very destructive party that is destroying our communities and they are destroying our infrastructure. That is what the Patriotic Alliance are doing. Look at Neisner, look at Theewaterskloof, look at what they did to Beaufort West, look at what they did to Laingsburg. The damage is there for all to see. So it makes sense they will not support it because they don't support anything that is constructive in this province. Then, Honorable Speaker, and I turn to good. What Member Herren has done is just actually read a statement he released 2 months ago, and I corrected him on this. So I do take note of what he has said, but he must take note of the real facts, which on the 7th of April, I actually responded to him, and I just go back to my 7th of April response. So, Speaker, as we conclude another demanding, and as you can see, quite an eventful year for me and my department, with all of our challenges and triumphs, it's also been a very rewarding year for this department. And therefore, I wish to extend my heartfelt gratitude firstly to our and my entire ministry team, who the bulk of them are present in the gallery, to the HOD in abstention, but our acting HOD is here, our DDGs, our SMS members. But I think more importantly, every DOI staff member in every branch, in every district across this province. Their commitment, Honorable Speaker, they are committed to excellence, going above and beyond. These are people that stand in water when it's storming in terms of our road branch. 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning. They are committed to what they do for this provincial government. They do it professionally, and they are unwaveringly dedicated to serving the people of our province. And these are the people that inspire me as the minister to do what I do, because as much as I lead, these are also leaders on the ground in what they are doing for our people. Hulle maak nie net geraas so sekere mense in hierdie huisie. And because of this team, Honorable Speaker, given what we have gone through over the last 2 financial years, I do want to acknowledge the entire Department of Infrastructure and all of these teams in what we have managed to accomplish together as a team, because they show up. When the Premier asked us to step up, they have done so, but they have done all of this with a purpose and a love for the people of the Western Cape. So I do want to thank them for their resilience, for their integrity, and for the passion which they showcase for public service, because they strengthen our collective mission to build a province, that works, grows, and cares. So I do want to wish all of them and their families a blessed festive season filled with peace and joy, and hopefully no floods during the festive.
Quiet.
Words from Philippians 4 verse 13. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And on behalf of me, the ministry, and my entire department, I want to wish this house, may this festive season strengthen and guide you as we all prepare for a new year full of possibility through the infrastructure lens. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much to the Honourable Minister. Can I just get an indication from the table staff that the sound in the chamber is unmuted? Members. And now I'll ask the secretary to read the fifth order of the day.
Debate on vote 6, Health and Wellness, Western Cape Adjustments, Appropriation Bill B5 2025.
Thank you very much. I recognize the Minister of Health and Wellness, Minister Wenger.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. It's a privilege and a pleasure to stand before you today to table the 25-26 adjustment budget estimates for the Western Cape Department of Health and Wellness. A year ago, when I tabled the previous adjustment budget, I spoke frankly about the immense pressure our healthcare system in South Africa is under. We were weathering multiple storms, the long tail of the COVID-19 pandemic, deep austerity measures, and increasing service demands. At that time, our focus was on stabilizing the system, protecting core services, and ensuring that we could continue to care for the most vulnerable. 6 months ago, when I tabled this year's main budget, I spoke about writing the next chapter of the department, a more hopeful chapter grounded in the lessons of the past, with a clear commitment to filling critical posts and strengthening the system. Today, I believe we have turned the page. We are seeing green shoots emerge from our stabilization efforts. The foundations we rebuilt during extremely difficult years are now supporting the early stages of recovery. Our targeted interventions are working, and this adjustment budget is designed to accelerate that progress so that every facility, every district, and every community can access high-quality, dignified healthcare where and when they need it. This is the central purpose of the 25-26 adjustment budget, to stabilize healthcare provision and to prepare for the implementation of the framework for action in the next financial year and over the course of the medium term. The Department of Health and Wellness will receive a 641.9 million rand increase, bringing our total budget for this financial year to 32.64 billion rand. I'm confident that we are using this budget to build a system that increasingly recognizes the humanity of every patient while maintaining excellence in care. Speaker, since becoming Minister of Health and Wellness in June 2024, I've travelled extensively to visit facilities across this province, from rural clinics to central hospitals, to listen and to learn from our staff, our patients, and from community members. Every visit, nearly 100 to date, has given me a deeper understanding of our system and the people who depend on it. From unannounced visits to facilities such as Grabo, District 6 or Caledon, to clinics where I've had the privilege to speak directly to patients and clinic committees in Dunoon, Retreat, Darling, Saldanha, Horston, Ayetu, KwaNokutula, Van Reinsdorp, Kleinvlei and Boortzicht, amongst many others. My visits have also taken me to hospitals across the province, from metro hospitals like Khayelitsha, Lentegeur, Brooklyn Chest, Eerste River and Westvleer, to those in our larger towns and rural areas, like Paarl, Vredenburg, Vredendal, Mossel Bay, Hermanus, Ceres, Beaufort West, Laingsburg, Prince Albert and Battlefield. I've travelled to see firsthand the kind of care being provided to our residents. A patient from Atlantis recently shared her experience following a life-threatening emergency which saw her rushed to Westvleer Hospital. She said, and I quote, "Westvleer Hospital has shown me and should show everyone that state hospitals are not places to be feared. On the contrary, they can embody the highest standards of high medical care. The compassion, skill, and humanity I experienced here surpassed what many expect from private hospitals. In my eyes, Westvleer Hospital is the pinnacle of state healthcare in South Africa." Similarly, a patient recently wrote of his experience spending a few days at False Bay Hospital following a heart attack. He told us he was impressed by the service and care of the doctors, nurses, support staff, and security guards, as well as the quality of food that was provided. He said, and I quote, "False Bay stands as a bastion of excellence and a beacon of hope for the sick and injured in the False Bay area." He added, "It's comforting to know that such compassionate and skilled care is available to all residents of the Far South." While these testimonials from our patients are heartening, we also know that we do not get it right every time, and we must acknowledge that the pressures on our services have often resulted in longer waiting times for our patients. Speaker, I'm therefore very happy to report that the action we have taken to address staff pressures is precisely where one of our strongest green shoots of growth has emerged. In this financial year, the department opened 590 additional posts, and up to the end of October, successfully filled 373 of these funded posts. Of these, 185 are clinical and 187 are support staff who make it possible for our healthcare professionals to deliver excellent care. These posts span the entire province, from the Garden Route to the West Coast. Importantly, it means 47 additional doctors and 66 additional nurses who have joined our ranks, bringing relief to teams who have carried immense workloads for far too long. Alongside staffing, this adjustment budget provides an additional 513.8 million rand for goods and services to meet urgent needs and pressures and invest in the future of our system. Our goal is simple: to create a more accessible, responsive, people-centered healthcare system in every corner of the Western Cape. To meet immediate pressures, the department will allocate 99 million rand for medical supplies, 21.9 million rand for medicines, 56.9 million rand for laboratory services. To further stabilize the system and support frontline teams, 88.8 million rand will be directed towards medical and nursing agencies, as well as medical waste disposal services. But recovery cannot only be about stabilization. It must also be about building a stronger, more resilient system. For this reason, we are investing in critical enablers of a modern health service. The department will allocate 52.8 million rand for maintenance, cleaning, municipal and security services, 68.8 million rand for IT and computer maintenance, licensing and new development, and 33 million rand for infrastructure planning. Each of these allocations has been carefully assessed and aligned to strengthening the system as a whole, because healthcare is never contained to one team, one facility, or a district. What happens in one part of the system inevitably affects the rest. And Speaker, on my oversight visits across the province, what I hear everywhere I go is remarkably consistent. Our staff want to serve with compassion, pride, and excellence, and our patients want a dignified experience rooted in humanity. That vision is reflected in how and where we allocate our budget. In Programme 1 administration, the additional 72 million rand strengthens the digital backbone of our health system. It includes new computer equipment, continued IT application and development, maintenance, Wi-Fi and licensing. These investments support the modernization needed for a responsive and efficient service. Turning to Programme 2, District Health Services, which carries the largest portion of the increase, 44%, or 284.2 million rand, is directed to the front line of care. These funds support rural health services by increasing funding for the delivery of chronic medication to improve patient access, and in the metro, funds will assist in the preparation for the commissioning of new psychiatric units in district hospitals as mental health needs continue to grow. For Programme 3, Emergency Medical Services, the focus is on strengthening both capacity and safety. An additional 19.5 million rand will allow EMS to fill critical vacancies and bolster security for the computer-aided dispatch system. Later this year, the implementation of the private ambulance contract for patient transfers between facilities will seek to ensure that public ambulances can remain available for emergencies. In Programme 4, Provincial Hospital Services, 61.7 million is allocated to expand care and capability. This includes funding posts to open high care beds at Paarl Hospital and acquiring equipment required for reopening a ward at George Hospital. Metro psychiatric, transitional care and rehabilitation services have been resourced to manage the expected festive season pressures. At the level of our central hospitals, Programme 5, 184.4 million rand has been allocated to strengthen specialist services. Assistive devices will be procured for audiology, occupational therapy, orthopedics and cardiology, while minor equipment and surgical instruments will be replaced. Importantly, some of these funds will help relieve service backlogs where demands continue to outpace capacity. In Programme 6, Health Sciences and Training, it's the only area to experience a small decrease of 815,000 rand and will not affect the continued work of the programme, including the distribution of bursaries for students or the procurement of training equipment for our colleges of nursing and emergency medical care. In Programme 7, Healthcare Support Services, the budget grows by 11.3 million rand. These funds support the operational readiness of key logistical infrastructure, including the commissioning of the new linen depot at Tygerberg Hospital and procuring an IT management system for the new warehouse. Finally, Programme 8, Health Facilities Management, receives an increase of 8.7 million rand, sustaining an active infrastructure pipeline across the province. With 45 projects under construction and more than 30 expected to be completed this year, the programme will also fund the procurement of essential health technology, including X-ray buckies for Mowbray Maternity and Ravensmead CDC, and a new mobile imaging C-arm at George Hospital. Planning work for 2 regional hospitals in the metro also continues through BFI funding. Speaker, I'd like to acknowledge the 90.9 million rand provided through the District Health Programme's conditional grant to stabilise HIV service delivery following the withdrawal of international funding earlier this year, which has been critical in our ability to adapt and continue to care for our patients. The 25-26 financial year has been defined by slow but steady rebuilding, by stabilising measures that are now visibly yielding results. We are not yet free of pressure or risk, but this adjustment budget, combined with prudent and thoughtful implementation, shows that we are beginning to see progress and hope. None of this would be possible without the extraordinary leadership of our Head of Department, Dr. Keith Kluti, our DDGs, Dr. Sadiq Karim and Mr. Simon Kay, and their teams. Thank you for your commitment and steadiness through both crisis and recovery. I'd also like to express my profound gratitude to our healthcare workers, support teams, and community representatives who give their time, skill, and compassion to make our province healthier every day. And to our patients, thank you for working with us under these difficult circumstances. We are working to build a system that really cares because your health and well-being truly matter. Speaker, while there's still much work ahead, I believe wholeheartedly that this adjustment budget represents a turning point, a moment where stabilisation begins to shift into renewal and where we can truly build back what was lost. Green shoots of growth are emerging, and this budget accelerates our recovery and rebuilds frontline healthcare. I thank you.
Baie dankie aan die agbare minister. I now recognize Honourable Windvogel.
Thank you, Speaker. Honourable Speaker, let me welcome our grounded activists in the gallery, Noria Eli and Habib. Honourable Speaker, when national government invests in health while the province withdraws, when funds meant for patient care are diverted to administrative structures, when posts remain frozen, and when public resources subsidize private profit, the ANC has no choice but to reject such a budget. We begin by acknowledging the reported increase of 641 million to the department's budget and commend the ANC-led government of national unity for it. In total, the national government has allocated 758 million, including 184 million to stabilise HIV and AIDS services after the withdrawal of PEPFAR funding, and 53.8 million for the health facility grant.
Honourable Windvogel, my apologies. Please take your seat.
So Monday,
Can the clock please be stopped? Can I please ask that all those members and members of the public who is joining the sitting virtually, please not unmute their microphones? Honourable Windvogel, my apologies for the interruption.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Targeted a long delay infrastructure projects such as Klipfontein Bella Regional Hospital. It is important for the people of Mynenburg, Heideveld, Guguletu, Nyanga, and the surrounding areas to know that it is national government that is finally stepping in to address the decade-long failures of the DA-led provincial administration, including the rebuilding of GF the hospital, where the DA has delayed, made excuses, and deflected responsibility. National government is now delivering. Yet, while national government acts to improve healthcare for the poor, the DA provincial administration continues to move in the opposite direction. Over 70 million has been diverted from the Department of Health and Wellness to other departments, such as the Department of the Premier and the Department of Infrastructure. This is a shocking and immoral decision. How does one justify taking resources intended for clinics, hospitals, and patient care and redirecting them to administrative offices? Even more concerning, over 60 million of the health budget was not spent at all. Instead, it has been deferred into future years under the excuse of budget realignment. Today, we want to tell the DA that the realignment does not treat sick patients. Realignment does not hire nurses or doctors. Realignment does not shorten waiting times or heal trauma. Realignment is a technical word for failure, for inaction, for neglect. This mismanagement extends to the compensation of employees. Once again, the budget for staffing has been reduced, and this time by 52 million. At Tygerberg Hospital alone, 27 million worth of funded posts remain unfilled due to the excuse of slow recruitment processes. Tygerberg is the province's main referral hospital. When critical posts remain vacant, patients care and staff carry on unbearable burden. If the department has deliberately decided to freeze posts, it must admit this openly. The public service honesty, not misdirection. The same systematic failures are evident at the Emergency Medical Service Training College, where over 800,000 intended for staffing and training was left unspent. In a province where ambulance services are insufficient and response times are dangerously long, this is nothing short of failure of governance. Honourable Speaker, as we mark Universal Health Coverage Day 2025, we are reminded that the promise of health for all remains unfulfilled for far too many, because more than half of our people still cannot access essential health services. The Violence Prevention Unit, launched with political fanfare as a bold intervention to reduce crime and trauma, has similarly lost momentum. Over 5 million allocated to the unit was not spent and has now been rolled over. Funds meant for hiring and programs have been redirected elsewhere. At a time when communities in Khayelitsha, Delft, Manenberg, Mitchells Plain, and Hanover Park are experiencing rising trauma and violence incidents. In hierdie begroting, Honourable Speaker, beplan die departement om miljoene rande te bestee aan diermediese toerusting, soos die C-arm masjien vir Paarl Hospitaal. 'n Gebied van kommer vir ons is die ontstellende tendens van hierdie departement om openbare mediese toerusting aan private hospitale te leen teen geen koste. Die minister het bevestig dat haar departement private hospitale toelaat om openbare hulpbronne teen geen koste te gebruik vir wins vir hulself, terwyl pasiënte in openbare fasiliteite maande of self jare vir ortopediese operasies wag en klinieke werk met gebroke of onvoldoende toerusting. Dit is 'n direkte belediging van billikheid en geregtigheid. Openbare hulpbronne moet die publiek dien.
Please take your seat. Honourable Minister Mayor, is there a point of order?
It is a point of order.
What is your point of order, Minister?
I would like to know if the honourable member who made the remark that the minister was misleading the House, on that basis, would she like to take a question? Because as far as I'm concerned, this matter,
Honourable
the minister.
Honourable Minister, you have an opportunity to rise on a point of order, so you don't need to motivate.
Okay.
So your point of order or your question is, if the member is prepared to take a question. Honourable Van Vogel, are you prepared to take a question?
Nee, Honourable Speaker, ons kan later gedurende lands kan die minister vir my die vraag vra.
Thank you very much. The honourable member, please take your seat. Honourable Minister, the member is not prepared to take a question.
I accept the member's offer not to take the question.
Thank you. Honourable Van Vogel, you may continue.
Dankie, Honourable Speaker. Dit is 'n direkte belediging van billikheid, geregtigheid. Openbare hulpbronne moet die publiek dien, nie privaat wins subsidieer nie. Speaker, die ANC sal aanhou toesig hou soos aangevra deur gemeenskappe in elke uithoek van hierdie provinsie. Ons sal hospitale, klinieke besoek, met pasiënte, gesondheidswerkers praat en toestande blootlet wat onaanvaarbaar is. Toesig bly een van die mees kragtige instrumente van enige
Your tyd is verstreke.
geen hoeveelheid intimidasie of
Honorable
baie dankie.
Order members. Order. I recognize the Honorable Stevens.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. The Patriotic Alliance cannot support Budget Vote 6. The budget still fails on metro and rural communities where hospitals continue to operate with too few doctors and nurses, long queues and no real improvement from previous years. Our people are still not receiving the basic health care they deserve. We also cannot ignore the continued disrespect shown towards our President, Minister Gator McKenzie, which undermines cooperation and dignity in this House. Until service delivery and respect are restored, the Patriotic Alliance withhold its support. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Honorable Lita Kong. Die achtbare Michaels.
Dankie Speaker. Speaker, vandag het die NCC die bout van die minister support vir die volgende redes. In 'n offline gesprek met die minister, het ek 4 priority areas aan haar genoem en sy het haar commit en ek kan sien sy's honest in die commitment wat sy vir my gegee het rondom die situasie by Caledon Hospitaal. Dan praat ons van Garabou wat Caledon Hospitaal saam is. Ons praat rondom die Pakkelsdorp kliniek wat ons 'n oversight gedoen het. Dan praat ons van die strand gesondheidsfacility en die retreat gesondheidsfacility. En die minister het commit dat ons as ek as member in sy vroeg in die nuwe jaar gaat sit en self besoeke aflê en ons gaan werk rondom dit. En vir daai rede dink ek dat die minister ernstig is met die gesondheidssituasie in die provinsie en dankie minister en ons support vandag die woord van u.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I recognize the Honorable Boyson. Order. There's a new member. There's a new member on the floor.
Honorable Speaker, today I stand before you not to whisper, not to tiptoe, but to speak plainly, because our country is running out of time for polite politics. For 30 years, we have watched the ANC treat public office like a personal ATM, while ordinary citizens suffer. We have watched corruption hollow out hospitals, destroy accountability, and steal not only money, but lives. And nowhere in this strategy and nowhere is this strategy more exposed than in provinces under the ANC rule. Honorable Speaker, let us speak about Tembisa Hospital, a place meant to heal our people, a place meant to save the most vulnerable, but instead it became a crime scene. A special investigation unit report uncovered that 2 billion rand, not million, billion, meant for medicines, equipment, and life-saving operations was looted through corrupt networks. 2 billion that should have kept wards open, 2 billion that should have staffed emergency rooms, 2 billion that should have kept South Africans alive. And as the National Ad Hoc Committee continues to work, what are we seeing? Links to senior ANC figures, including former Minister of Police and even the current Minister of Police, now on special leave. Ask ourselves, why do these names keep coming up? Why, after decades, is corruption still embedded so deeply into the ANC's DA? Honorable Speaker, because comrades are protected, because lawyers...
Order, members. Order. You're drowning out the speaker.
Because corruption is not an accident under the ANC, it is a system. Let us talk about Brian Hlongwa's case, another ANC cadre, another senior figure, another 1.2 billion rand in illegal tenders that left the Gauteng department bleeding. Billions frozen, but lives lost. Years in investigations, but communities still paying the price. Honorable Speaker, South Africans are not naive. We know the pattern. We've lived the consequences. We see clinics collapsing, doctors overworked, hospitals understaffed, and budgets disappearing into pockets of the politically connected. But now, let us turn our eyes to something different, something working, to something that proves that good governance is possible in this country. Let us turn to the DA-led Western Cape. Honorable Speaker, because while ANC-led provinces drown in scandal after scandal, the Western Cape Department of Health and Wellness is doing what government is meant to do, serve the people. The adjustment budget will see the department get an increase of 641 million rand to strengthen healthcare. And what are we going to do with it? Waste it? Lose it? In fraudulent tenders? No. They invested back into communities, back into dignity, back into saving lives. Honorable Speaker, the Intimate Partner Violence Intervention Program has already screened 40,000 patients, 40,000 South Africans who may have otherwise suffered in silence. This program is not a slogan. It is not a party rally chant. It is lifeline. After successful pilots in Mitchell's Plain, Grooteskier, and Mitchell's Plain District Hospital, it is being expanded further because when something works, the Western Cape grows it. Then there are health and wellness private sector think tank, a groundbreaking collaboration between government, private healthcare, academia, and social society. For 6 months, he delivered real progress, real partnership, real alignment. It works so well that it has been extended for another 12 months. This is leadership. This is innovation. This is what happens when you choose competence over cadre deployment. In infrastructure, the Western Cape is not patching holes. It is building future. Honorable Speaker, right now, 45 healthcare construction projects are underway for 2025-2026, the most in a single year ever. 30 will be completed within the year, from new clinics in Saldanha, Knysna, Philippi, Ravensmead, and Mossel Bay to upgrades in the Dorans, Wellington, Ceres, Bottasig, and Strand. Hospitals are being expanded. A 225 million rand emergency center at Grooteskier, a 150 million rand upgrade at Alexandra and Lentegeur hospitals, a 42 million rand improvement at Montague Hospital, theaters at New Somerset, Tygerberg, and Caledon are being repaired. New psychiatric units are rising in Khayelitsha, New Somerset, and Easter Rivier. And at Tygerberg, groundwork is underway for historic redevelopment that will transform how healthcare is delivered for generations to come. That, Honorable Speaker, this is not happening in Denmark. This is not happening in Singapore. It is happening right here in the Western Cape under a government that takes duty seriously. What we see in the Western Cape is what South Africa could be. Accountability instead of excuses, service instead of slogans, delivery instead of corruption. One government steal billions, other build hospitals. One defense cadres, other prove that
Order.
can be restored. South Africa,
Order.
the question before us is simple. Do we want more Tembisas? Or do we want more Grooteskiers? Do we want more scandals or more?
Honorable Boyson, please take your seat. To the members on my left-hand side, there's been constant running commentary throughout Honorable Boyson's contributions. Interjections are allowed, and this is a robust part of the parliamentary process. But you cannot continuously engage the member that's on the floor. Can I please ask that you that you afford the member the same right that was afforded to you when you made your contributions. Honorable Boyson, you may continue.
Do we want more scandals or more clinics? More doctors, more safety, more dignity? The power to choose is in our hands. And the time to choose, Honorable Speaker, is now. Because this country deserves better, because our people of the Western Cape deserves better, because the future of our children will inherit, what our children will inherit depend on what we do next. Honorable Speaker, let us choose clean governance. Let us choose service delivery. Let us choose accountability. Let us choose a government that works so that the Western Cape can continue working. The DA supports this budget wholeheartedly. Thank you.
Baie dankie aan die agbare lid, and I recognize the Minister, Minister Wenger.
Very much, Mr. Speaker. I'm not sure whether Honourable Windvogel was listening, because she mentioned post-frozen, but in fact, the opposite has transpired and what I spoke to in my speech. So in this financial year, we budgeted to add additional 590 posts. And from April to October, we filled 373 of those posts. Overall, from April to October this year, we've recruited 1,911 new employees, which is evidenced by our fill rate against budget, which has increased from 96.7% in April to 98.3% in November of 2025. She also said that the national government is finally stepping up to build infrastructure. I'd like her to tell that to the people of Puckelsdorp that have been waiting a decade for the national government to rebuild their clinic, and it's still not over the line and nowhere even near development.
Order.
In the meantime, the Western Cape government has 45 projects in the construction pipeline.
Order.
Our most ever. And we were able to deliver a new emergency centre in Robertson within just 10 months. Not 10 years, 10 months.
Order. Minister, please take your seat. Honourable members. Honourable members, the Minister is responding to your contributions. It's now the Minister's opportunity. You cannot drown out the Minister. Honourable Minister, you may continue.
She further says that the funding shifted to the Department of Infrastructure is immoral. What does she think that funding is for? It's for the building of health infrastructure. Or to the Department of the Premier. That's for computers and for the ambulance CAD system. It's computer equipment that the Department of the Premier supports our department with. Then she says the VPU, the Violence Prevention Unit, has done nothing, which means she was obviously not in the House when I spoke at length about the Planet Youth Programme, where we surveyed 50,000 grade 8s and 9s in this province to try and understand their lived experiences and to understand how we can build social protective factors for the youth of our province as our contribution.
Order. Honourable Minister, please take your seat. Honourable Genso. Honourable Genso, you, if you want to interject, please do so from your bench. It's unparliamentary to do what you are doing. So can I please ask that you return to your bench and then interject, or remain quiet if you continue sitting next to the Chief Whip of the Opposition? Order. Honourable Minister, you may continue. My apologies.
Thank you very much. And then I do want to tackle this issue of the loaning of equipment. The Honourable Member says that she believes in healthcare for all, but not if it is a child that's dying in a private hospital, because that's what happened. We had critical equipment that was needed by a child in the hospital next door. It was loaned because we did not have a bed to accommodate that child ourselves. And that piece of equipment was not in use and it was returned to us. And we were able to make sure that that child did not die. That is what the honourable member is raising as an issue and a problem. How is that healthcare for all? We want to collaborate with the private sector that supports our services day in and day out. And in this instance, I think they were justified to loan that equipment.
Honourable Minister, please take your seat. Minister Meyer, is that a point of order?
It is a point of order, Honourable Speaker. As you've ruled before, there's running commentary and I cannot hear the Minister, and the Minister is giving detailed explanations of what they have put before her and she is dismissing it, and I would very much like to hear, can you rule on this running commentary, because it's very disturbing.
Thank you very much. Order. Honourable members, again, the running commentary is drowning out the Minister. I do not want to move to the next part of applying the rules on our last day for this year. Can I please ask that you work with us in the confines of the rules, but this is the final warning. Honourable Van Vogel, is that a point of order?
Yes, Honourable Speaker, we can't allow a minister to come and lie to the House. Sy kom staan en
Honourable-
lieg hierso. Sy lieg as 'n MEC hierso in hierdie Weskaap.
No.
No, honourable members, please take your seats. Please take your seats. Order. Order. Honourable Van Vogel, that is unparliamentary. You cannot reflect on the integrity of a member by saying, and I quote, that we cannot allow the minister to be lying to the House. So can I please ask that you withdraw that?
Honourable Speaker, I withdraw, but she's misleading the House.
Order. 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 Honourable Van Vogel. Honourable members. Honourable Van Vogel, can I please ask that you withdraw unconditionally, and then you can rise on whatever
I withdraw, Speaker,
unconditionally.
unconditionally.
Thank you very much. Honourable Van Vogel.
Yes, then again, Honourable Speaker, we cannot allow that Minister Wenger comes to the House and mislead the House. Die Here gaan vir jou straf.
Thank you very much. Please take your seat. Honourable Minister, you may continue.
Thank you. Also, the loaning of equipment is an issue that's also been traversed multiple times in at least 2 different standing committees, where the position of the department was made clear, and the honourable member is aware that a draft SOP has been submitted to formalise this practice, but it has always been done within the environment, as I mentioned earlier, where equipment is loaned if we are not able to accommodate that patient ourselves, and if that equipment is not being used by the current patient. Then let me say thank you very much to Honourable Michaels and Boyson for the support of the budget. That's very much appreciated. I look forward to visiting Caledon with Honourable Member in the new year. But just to assure honourable members that we are reinvesting over 22 million rand to revitalise Caledon as I speak, and it will be fully operational by the end of next year. The 22 million rand project is currently in stage 5, and we're also constructing an acute psychiatric unit at a cost of 12.5 million rand. And this will have a very important impact in the district. And then, as mentioned, we currently have 45 health projects in construction. We had a portfolio value of 2.4 billion rand, and we expect approximately 33 of these projects to be completed by the end of next year. Let me thank the honourable members of the Standing Committee for the oversight they've conducted this year. And a big thank you to my colleagues for the support in our various programs and projects that we work on together in the interests of the residents of this province. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honourable Minister. Honourable members, that concludes the debate on this vote, and the House is now suspended until 2 p.m.